Well, let's start with that big breaking news tonight, shall we? Sky News understands that the former Chelsea boss, Thomas Tuchel, has signed a deal to become the new England manager, replacing Gareth Southgate. He will be the third foreign coach of the three Lions, following Sven-Göran Eriksson and, of course, Fabio Capello, and becomes the first German coach to take charge of the English national team. Well, the FA is going to hold a news conference at Wembley tomorrow around lunchtime to make this formal. Our sports correspondent Rob Harris joins me now. Rob, I think it's fair to say that this was unexpected. Less than 24 hours ago, all the talk was about Lee Carsley, the interim manager. He's not ruling himself in, not ruling himself out. Thomas Tuchel has come out of the blue. And
also over whether Pep Guardiola could take the job as well. A bit of a smokescreen, because clearly the FA already in talks to sign up their new manager. The new manager being Thomas Tuchel, so a third foreign manager of the three Lions. And what they do have in Tuchel is a proven trophy winner. We haven't had that with his predecessors, with Gareth Southgate, who achieved so much, obviously taking England to back-to-back finals, not with Roy Hodgson either, but Tuchel, a Champions League winner with Chelsea in 2021, won titles at Paris Saint-Germain as well. And that's what England really do need, someone to take them over the line to finally land that first men's trophy since '66. And perhaps some of the questions about Gareth Southgate, whether he could change those big matches in the key moments, whether he could influence the match tactically as it was in play. Certainly with Tuchel, do have someone who is tactically sharp.
In terms of it being a surprise, yes, it was. In terms of him being the right fit for England, I mean, you mentioned his CV there. Some really big clubs, Bayern Munich, PSG, Borussia Dortmund, Chelsea, of course, in that Champions League win. But is he the right fit for England? Because it's quite a unique job.
The impossible job. Just
That's the one, yeah.
Just reflecting, listening to the thoughts of the late Sven-Göran Eriksson in his life, when he talks about conversations with Tony Blair about only the two jobs of England men's manager and perhaps Prime Minister carry the most pressure in life. And obviously we've seen the rise of the women's team as well since then, and the fact they've shown how to win a trophy with the Euros in 2022. Tuchel can cope with those challenging moments. At clubs, he's had various moments of friction over transfers. Of course, he can't sign players with the national team. He also, at Chelsea, was there during that very problematic period when, of course, Roman Abramovich was sanctioned and there was the whole sale of the club, and he was the face of the club in press conferences. And we have seen, particularly in the Gareth Southgate years, it's not just about coaching on the pitch, it's about how you cope with those moments in the news conferences when it might be off-field matters you asked about, political matters as well. And the fact he's managed in this country, which we hadn't had with Sven-Göran Eriksson or indeed Fabio Capello in the past, shows he does have that sort of association with England, English football.
Yeah, and Thomas Tuchel has been asked about the England team in the past, before tournaments, just as you would at a press conference, probably not in mind of him being the England manager, but just asked about the England team, and he said they're a good side. And he, of course, knows Harry Kane really well. Harry Kane has praised Thomas Tuchel, saying, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he was the manager of Bayern Munich last season with Harry Kane there in the team at his first season at the club. It was a very unusual season for Bayern. They didn't win the title. They were beaten to that by Bayer Leverkusen. And, there were some, obviously, difficult moments for him there. But certainly his track record has him in good standing. There'll be questions over salary, because the FA do need to justify spending on a manager compared to, say, grassroots facilities as well.
Probably won't be as much as Bayern Munich, will it?
You'd expect not, potentially. And also, of course, being a German manager will come into play. We can't overlook the fact in Germany during the last Euros, a lot of England fans still with their anti-German, xenophobic songs. So that'll be something that the FA have to work with in terms of eradicating from, the fan culture. And, even tonight, some of the columnists saying it's completely wrong. There shouldn't be a foreign manager of the England team. It should always be an English person who's in charge. But we have seen with Sarina Wiegman, who's Dutch, landing a trophy for the Lionesses. No one really questioning her credentials there. But certainly it's a big appointment, and obviously the vacancy that's been there since Gareth Southgate was in the job. And perhaps a moment some said Gareth Southgate might have fallen short with the talent that he had and in his 8 years in charge. But he did take England to back-to-back finals. No Englishman had taken England to a final since 1966 and Sir Alf Ramsey. So the bar has been set there for Tuchel as he begins the task of trying to qualify for the World Cup in 2026.
Yeah, he's in no doubt as to what the FA and England in the wider context expects. You mentioned that there about qualification. Let's look at the path ahead for Thomas Tuchel. It starts really, doesn't it, tomorrow afternoon with that press conference. The FA expected to make this news formal. Will he be there? And then what are the steps ahead? When is he actually going to get his tracksuit on and get with the England team?
Well, it looks like Lee Carsley will still be the interim manager for the final Nations League games next month. He's got a task to get England promoted back to the top tier of that. So a bit of time for Thomas Tuchel to certainly settle in. Carsley's obviously was under-21s manager and was promoted as interim during the interregnum at the moment. So the question is, will he go back to the under-21s? Will he be part of this new setup? Because that is another thing that Gareth Southgate had grown the England DNA, the whole St George's Park HQ over the last decade or so, which was seen to be the pathway for English coaches. He came through it. He was under-21s coach, Southgate. He was part of the whole setting up of St George's Park. This is an outsider coming in, as we saw with Serena Wiegmann. So the FA will obviously need to signal what hope that might give to future coaches who hope to sort of follow the pathway into the Three Lions job. But in December, a key moment, because that's when he'll discover who their opponents will be in trying to qualify for the 2026 World Cup, which will be in the United States, Canada and Mexico. It's, less than 2 years away now. It seems we're only, just at the Euros now. But certainly, a lot will be maybe pinning their hopes on Thomas Tuchel and whether he can finally land that first trophy since '66.